where, the last 90 days is by far, Q4 is obviously the hardest, but it's the most critical quarter where you have to really fine tune your business, see where you're at, and truly stay committed. So, and because obviously it sets you up for Q1. So with that being said, I'm excited about the topic today. It's about helping your coaches to star diamond and above. So essentially after the first 90 days. And this is going to be an open discussion. So I want each of you, if you have something to say, please do not hold back. Do not hesitate. Please just jump in and let us know what you have done to really, get star diamonds, help promote star diamonds within your team, or, maybe a best practice that you know about that you're implementing right now. So go ahead, ladies. Whoever wants to start is more than welcome to. Awesome. So we're all wondering exactly how to go about this, right? So who has, yeah, go.
Put them under your husband, and then they'll become star diamonds.
That is the truth with your business.
All of my star diamonds are under my husband. Yes.
So he's very solid. So, okay. So obviously you provided the training. So what did you do with these individuals that are under him?
I don't think it was anything special besides they have a bigger vision than a lot of new coaches. They get the picture. So it's just, in my opinion, helping them see the bigger picture and have a bigger vision. And it's not based on rank, and a lot of times not based on income either. A lot of them have big stories. Both of my star diamonds have big stories of who they are. And one had, she lost like 130 pounds with turbo kick like 4 years ago. So she has a big story and a big why. She's very open about her depression, struggles she has. And my other one, she calls herself she has an inner fatty, and that's what she says. But she was very, very, I guess, chubby as a kid, and she didn't even let her husband see pictures of her in her chubby stage until after they were married. And she's sharing all of that. Like, hers is more of a mental transformation. So they're very, very open with sharing their story and having a bigger vision of what this company has done for them, rather than just, if that
I love it. No, it makes complete sense. Okay. So they truly wanted it. I mean, obviously, so how, let's go another layer deep. So are we, what are we setting them up with extremely strong expectations, or do they just come to this business with a drive and a will, and they're like hellbound determined because they're finally sick of being where they're at? They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So let's kind of talk about that. Yeah.
I think some of that is part of it. I was like at the worst point in my life, and I talked about that a lot. And I really do think like your vibe attracts your tribe. And so a lot of my strong coaches were in that same exact situation. So I think a lot of it is what you're talking about is who you're going to attract, and then do the same thing because they're willing to talk about it. They're attracting people who are desperate to make changes too. So in my opinion, it's all about the vulnerability. That's kind of like my strong suit, in my opinion, is sharing the imperfections and the struggles, and it just builds relatability. And so that's been their strength too, is the vulnerability.
Awesome. Okay. Who wants to chime in and kind of carry on from there, or has something else that they want to share about that?
I'll make you laugh. I can build star diamonds and they're all dropping. So that's pretty awesome.
Okay. So why are they dropping?
They're just, I don't know. I had a 5-star underneath me, a 12-star underneath me, a 3-star, a 2-star, and a 1-star. And they're all
so
dropping.
Actually, let me that's based on their own journey and where they're at. So what did you do to get them to, exceed where you're at? Because obviously you're doing something very, very well, and you're painting a bigger picture, regardless if they're on this journey, or not. So what are you doing to kind of get them to see that bigger vision?
I've been here for 5 years. I think they're like, oh my God, she's been here forever. And maybe I honestly think that, because I think that, with the exception of a few, most of my coaches take a very long time to even go diamond, and then they're sticking around. And so they learn that this is, you either want this or you don't, and you got to stick around for the long haul. I've been very honest with my coaches that the people that you see rise really quickly, it's not super common. I do have a coach that she's just a freak of her own, and she did her own thing. That's my 12-star. I'm not even going to say, like, I help answer questions, but for her, it's just ingrained. She's just a business builder. It's just ingrained in her soul. She could have signed up with anyone and probably been where she's at. I like to say that I've helped her on the emotional side of things. But I don't know, like, if I knew that answer, I wish I could package it up and put it into a box and give it to you guys, because I feel like a lot of it is just constant confidence, sending them constant confidence, sending them constant check-ins, sending them constant, like, reminders, asking them what they're doing for their personal development, reminding them that I believe in them, reminding them of their vision. And I do it constantly, like, all the time. The problem with that is I sometimes get drained out. It sucks the life out of me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that for a month. And then they all drop. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm okay with it in the sense that they have to find the fire in their belly themselves. And I have the solid coaches that they drop and they don't let it, like, derail them. They're still going to be in it and they're still going to focus. But then I have the coaches that drop and they're like, my life's over. Like, every coach me, no one's ever going to sign up with me again. So for me, I've had a major personal development change in my 5 years. Like, I went from a very unconfident coach and a very, like, unsure that I even wanted to run this as a business to, like, being successful in my own way. And so for me, I think it's just them watching me, and they tell me all the time that, like, my personal development fuels them, like, helps them believe in themselves. And so I think it's just, I really try to instill that. Someone said on the National Wake Up Call, I really liked it, that you got to be your own motivation, and I'll be there and I'll help you. But you got to make sure you're digging deep in your personal development. And, bottom line is most of my coaches that are struggling, that are dropping, aren't doing personal development. It's just the bottom line. But I don't know if I'm even helping anyone, except for that I feel like I can build diamonds and star diamonds this year. Not so many diamonds, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss I need some wine. I'm done.
I need some wine.
Can I piggyback
Go,
on
Julia.
that, Britt?
Absolutely.
I think, like, we did a call last night on our team about challenge groups, and the idea of, like, setting the expectation just kept coming into my mind, like, over and over, because, like, if you don't tell people, and it's like, it's hard for some of us that, like, we're like, oh, maybe I painted this picture that it was easier than it was for the people that have already been in it. But going back to the new people, it's like being kind of, like, really honest. Like, this is going to take 3 to 4 years. Like, I really think it takes that long, like, to really build a big income. And nothing magic is going to happen at Diamond. And I don't want to, like, it's like, how do you say that without, like, taking the specialness away from that, but saying, like, you being at Diamond is not going to put a lot of money in your pocket. So if you want to build a big business, you need to be, like, and I think Brittany talks about that a lot, is, like, instead of talking about Diamond, talking about 2-star. And, like, maybe, like, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Like, just, you can't just package it up. But, like, that idea of expectation, I think, is where so many people go wrong, is because they think it's going to be something it's not, or it's going to be easier. Or, like, with a challenger, they think, oh, I'll just start this and I'm going to lose 15 pounds. It's like, it's going to be a longer journey. And I wonder just how best practices to communicate that without being, like, a hard ass and being like, look, this is going to be freaking hard and it's going to take you 5 years, because you don't want to, like, take away the fun or take away what's going to happen in between. But I just, that to me, like, because I look back at, I'm the same thing. I've been in this for a really long time. And that's probably the only reason is I kept going. But I've, like, it's a longer term thing. And so if you can get that ingrained in someone's mind, like, this is not even 2 years. Like, 2 years is great, but, like, it takes a year to kind of get the hang of it even. And then 3 to 4 years, I don't know. So I don't know if that's, like, discouraging or if it's just realistic.
No, you're spot on, Ellen. Yep. Go ahead, Ellen.
Like Eric Worre in GoPro, he says, and this is what I relay to my new coaches now, that he says it takes 1 year to be competent. And I make that a point of humor, because our coach, it is like rocket science to figure out how to navigate the Coach Online office. Every new coach is overwhelmed. Every new coach is, like, overwhelmed, and they go through this period of being overwhelmed. So I'm like, don't worry, you're doing great. It takes a year to have any kind of competence. And then it takes 3 years to if you do the small things, right, the vital behaviors consistently over time, it takes 3 years to be able to replace your income at whatever job you are doing, and 5 years to approximately, like any network marketing, not Beachbody, to earn 6 figures if you stay consistent doing the small things daily, and 7 years to be really considered a network marketing pro. So I have that conversation early. I do pull in Brittany's 2-star thing now because that's something she guided me with, like, I think last year. So I have that same thing that Julia said, like, first stepping stone emerald, then diamond, then 2-star. Like, that's your first trajectory I want you looking at. And then I just wanted to say a couple things. That one, I really appreciated the chat that was popping up yesterday with what you guys were saying and the wine emojis, because sometimes the way I'm wired psychologically, when I get on here and hear everybody's best practices, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I suck. They're so good. Those guys are so good at this. And so I really appreciated, like, the tenor of that chat. It made me feel like, oh, maybe I don't suck. These guys struggle too. I also wanted to say about the topic today that, and Kiana touched on this, my really good diamond, star diamonds, the ones, the very
it's Kiana.
the few,
Okay.
that,
Yeah, no problem.
the ones that I think that will be, that I don't have to worry about, I don't have to, like, check in their drill down. They would have been diamond and star diamond without me. It's just the kind of people that they were. And are we recording this, Brittany? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we are.
Well, then I'll say it carefully.
You're okay.
I just came home from a master trainer boot camp in Vegas, and it was, like, exhausting. We kind of worked too hard, like we were, like, getting injured a little bit. And some of the lectures and keynotes was, like, stuff some of us who've been around already knew. But it was also, like, amazing and uplifting and enriching and all these wonderful things. What I noticed is, like, in talking to little pockets of master trainers, some of them would be like, you know, wah, 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 like, you know, oh, we already know all this, or, you know, oh, I'm going to get injured here. Like, when are we going to get a break? Or, you know, these days are so long. And then others were like, this is, like, the most incredible master trainer retreat we've had yet. And I just noticed, like, and almost all of them are coaches too. And I just noticed, like, some of them took in conversation my energy down, and some of them, like, added to my energy and brought it up. And I was, like, thinking about our coaching business and how the diamonds and the star diamonds and the leaders and those that are long haulers, they are energy adders. And when I look at the ones I've been able to retain, it's because they're energy adders. They attract and they gravitate like that. And the ones that are like, you know, this is going on, and that, you know, this is the drama in my life, the excuse makers and those that don't add, like, those are the ones that are falling off. So I just want to be able to find a way to attract more adders in my life. So that's where I'm at.
I love it, Ellen. Thank you for being able to speak, because I know most of the time that you are in class or out of class. So I love that. But that's what that chat thread is all about. It's real, it's raw, and that's what it needs to be. So Lindsay Nix, I know she's not on the call, but girl, thank you for opening up. And I was like, heck yeah, like, I'll support that any day. And I know some of us don't drink, and some of us are pregnant, and whatever it may be, but find a community where you just love to be around it. And the beautiful thing, Ellen, you don't have to be perfect. None of us are, I promise. I talk to each of you individually, and I know the individual items that you struggle with and how you know, everybody's not alone. And I know, you know, it looks perfect here because everybody is highly ranked on the LEAP report, and they've, you know, advanced quickly and all those things. But most of us have taken quite a long time to get to this level. So we're all the same, you know, just in obviously different states. So thank you, Ellen, for saying that. I love it. And Julia's a mess all day long, she says. So besides the lipstick. But one thing I just want to touch on, and then I know I saw a hand, is that 2-star diamond approach is incredibly important But also take it a step further, and this is kind of a smack in upside the head. But if you have a coach that has been a diamond for a very long time, stays at diamond, falls out of diamond, it's just this wishy-washy roller coaster, they are technically a discount coach. And I will say, if my coach called me out on that and said, you know what, you're technically a discount coach, you don't have a team, you're basically getting your products paid for, you are a discount coach. If my coach said that to me, I'd be like, hot dang. And I wanted to be a career-minded coach, it would give me a pep in my step. Okay. So kind of look at it that way. But yes, I mean, you don't see the vision of this business. You don't see any of it until you advance to 2-star diamond. We say 2-star diamond because star diamond, obviously you are not able to open up your second CBC, and that just gives you more options. So I love that you brought that up, ladies, but the expectations are huge, and I'll go in a little bit deeper after we talk more. So Darby, did you have like 3 hands up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to add on to that, I feel like for my coaches, I don't know about you guys, my diamonds are like so cynical right now. They're so just negative. I can't even like talk to them. So not all of them, but I feel like as long as I give them what I feel like I need, from my upline, which I don't always get from my upline, but if I can give them what I feel like I would need to get there, then that's different. Like if I'm on a call with all my diamonds, like I'll say, okay, what are our goals for the end of the year? And everybody's like, I'm just trying to hang on to this diamond. And then I'll have my one girl who is star diamond right now, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to be 5-star at the end of the year. So they're just different, like there's nothing I did different with her, but it's just like any other rank, right? Like some are going to do it and some are just not going to do it. Like there's nothing you did different or nothing you can train them on, just like us, like some are just going to do it. And it's just finding those ones who do. So I feel better because I honestly feel like a failure if I'm not helping them get 2-star diamond ranks, but I feel better about my leadership when I'm giving them what I feel like what I need, what I would need and want. So as long as you give them that, you're doing your job because you can't run their business for them. Because some are just going to be like, I'm going to be 5-star, I'm going to be a leadership, I'm going to do this, and then, they're just going to do it. There's nothing more to it.
Totally. Yes, Jalen, go.
Okay, so as everybody's talking, I just was thinking more about like how we've been able to bond as a team. And we started doing like twice a year diamond retreats is what we're doing. We're doing one in January. And how it works is we just pay for whoever of our goes diamond. So it's not like I'm taking on my whole entire downline. I just cover my cost and whoever hit diamond. And all the diamonds are welcome to come, whether they have people advance to diamond or not. They just cover their cost. Anyway, what we found is the more we get together and the more we share our stories, the more solid they become. So I always emphasize with my people, like diamond, honestly, most people who hit diamond are very empty, especially when they first hit. You're going to be an empty skeleton diamond. But I tell them, like, don't expect income. You need to be expecting, basically, there's a mental shift at diamond, I've noticed, usually. That's when they become confident in the business. They're not scared to talk about it. They start posting differently. I'm like, thank you. Like, now you're not like timid and salesy and scared. And so I tell them, like, you get to diamond for the mental shift. You don't get there for the income. And it also helps them because they want to go to these retreats that we do. And they're very simple and low key. But getting people together for me has been huge with people getting solid in the business because the friendships develop. We have message threads going with, Emerald to Diamond and then Diamond Plus. And that helps them, like you guys were talking about with us, like having a message thread where you can talk and be friends gets people, in my opinion, on my team to stay solid. And they can talk about when they're struggling and they're all here to support. So just, in my opinion, I don't emphasize obviously the income at Diamond because there is no income, especially when you first get there. It is empty usually. You're not just all of a sudden going to have 12 builders. And so I make sure they understand that it's for the mental shift and it's kind of the baby steps. And I'm just still baby myself. But this is things I've noticed helping my team is just to have something to look forward to and to aim for rather than just like get to Diamond. It's like we have a retreat in January, we have one in August. And so they're constantly pushing for it. They see all of us getting together and the friendships that are developing. And I think that's a huge perk of this business is that support network that I never would have had in my life. So I don't know if that helps at all. But
It does, and I'm going to call out two people. So I know Marion put her hand up, but I'm going to call out Christine first. Because Christine, did that help solidify kind of what you've been thinking? Okay, because she's been kind of going back and forth about, Diamond Retreat and what it's all about, and what are the expectations and what happens if they fall out afterwards. And it's like, you know what, you got to give them the tools, and if they're going to run with it, they're going to run it with it. So I hope that helped Christine with kind of solidifying that. And then Marion was so cool. So she was actually here in Utah with us last Friday and was there 15 of you?
Yes.
So 15, and Jeff Hill and Doug were able to speak, to her and her leaders. So I know you probably wanted to add on to that, but I also wanted to just kind of see, because you have 15 of your diamonds, and I know some of them were your personally sponsored diamonds. But I just want to ask, what was the big takeaway? What was it that, after that whole thing? So please, answer or say what you were going to say. And then if you don't mind giving us a little insight to your diamond retreat that happened in Utah just last weekend.
Yeah, so this was my first experience with it. It was amazing. And I think the retreat had two big benefits that I don't really think I knew going in that would happen. Is number one, it kicked up energy big time on our team page, and like newer coaches who saw that and were like, oh my gosh, like this is something that I can put on my vision board for next year. So it really got everyone kind of more excited about vision casting for what they can accomplish. The other part was just having newer diamonds spend time kicking back over a glass of wine on the deck with my star diamonds and having them share their story in a relaxed way. And my star diamonds just kind of tell it how it is. Because I agree with everyone here that their mindset, they're hardwired a little bit differently. I didn't do anything different with them as I did the coach who just canceled. It's the same thing. Some people have that mentality. And I always tell my diamonds coaches, once they go diamond, like, say goodbye to me. Like, they actually get off of, they stay on my team page, but they go build their other team page, and they don't add new coaches to our team page. So the best thing they can do is say goodbye to me. And then one thing I wrote down that I wanted to share is what I tell in all my new coach training groups is, because I think mindset is everything, but I say for Emerald gives you a ticket into the arena. But Diamond, you're given a jersey and you're allowed to play on the field. Mm-hmm. But Emerald is not where it begins. I think people, a lot of times they say, Emerald's where it starts. I'm like, no, I want you to think of, you're in the game at Diamond. Emerald, you can sit on the bench, but you're not going to be playing. So I think that sitting there also with Jeff Hill talking, and you are amazing, Brittany and Doug, and just in the culture that you guys have there and how genuine everyone is, and really stood out because I have a lot of women on my team who work in the business world, and they know that they're like, oh my gosh, I would never want someone to walk into my place of business because I would think that they would be disappointed. But you guys are just like genuine, fun, real people. So I think that would really spoke well to integrity.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, literally, and I want to share this real quick, and then we can go back to the topic at hand, but this is kind of cool because Marion was able to experience it. And if you ever have an opportunity to come, I know Jay Lynn has anybody else on here been able to come to Utah? Okay, so if you ever plan a diamond retreat, Marion learned, I will tell you, she had a horror story. She booked a home, showed up, it was already booked, and they were smoking some doobies. And so it was very... So I get this frantic message, Brittany, we don't have a place to stay. They found, though, a beautiful place, right? And it was amazing. And, but it is just incredible out here, especially with the leaves changing. I mean, Utah's beautiful anyways. But with that being said, Jeff Hill, Doug Moss, anybody that of our directors and, president of sales, president of global sales, that's Jeff, are able to speak and really just shine light on what this business is all about. And when they speak, it literally, it's, because normally you see them at Summit or Leadership or NLC, and it's like they're speaking to a big crowd. Here, they're speaking to 10 to 15, maybe 30 of you, and it's an incredible experience. And honestly, when Jeff Hill speaks, like, look at this. You take notes because you never know what he's going to say, and it's always incredible. So there's a couple of key points that I just want to say real quick, and then we can, if you have any questions or anything like that, and we can go back to this too. We have about 10 minutes. But, one thing that he first and foremost shared is nothing happens without leadership. If you're feeling a lull in your business, if you're feeling like, just things are not happening within your business, if you feel like your team is not, going to the next level, if you feel like you're not producing Star Diamonds, it's probably because it's the lack of confidence that you have with your leadership skills. And I know that's the one trait that is not learned. You don't have to be a leader to become a Beachbody coach. And a lot of my coaches actually really have a problem with it because they never were a leader and now they are. But literally nothing happens without leadership. So freshen up your skills, realize how to lead and guide others to success, mentor others. But the most important thing is listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. Be on their level, showing compassion, love. I mean, that's really what this business is all about. And then I loved this point, and it was kind of like and it hit me too, but it literally, Beachbody should not be your life. It should help you create a great life. And so if you are still in that where Beachbody is all you do and that's all you talk about and there's nothing else that kind of, stems from it, honestly, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to lose your passion. You're going to lose your why. And more importantly is your coaches, your leaders are going to see that, and they usually are like, I don't want that. And then they bow out on something really great that they've, started to create. Oh, I love Jalen. It was a perfect way to start our retreat. It brings the focus of why we are in the business and set the tone to our entire retreat. It was absolutely amazing to start at corporate. And thank you, Jalen. I so agree. And I'm a little biased because I get to love on you guys in person. But, Jeff always keeps on going back to this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. So if you haven't had an opportunity to read this, dive into it. It is a great personal development book. And truly, it talks about finding that one thing in your business and setting your sight on it and going after it. And he always talks about 66 days. 66 days is when you're actually going to form the habit. You're going to get rid of the bad habits. But he literally, so he had a multi-million-dollar business. He ended up firing himself from CEO and focused on what it's going to take it to the next level because it was failing. And so he literally fired himself. He found what it was going to take it to the next level, and he zoomed focus. Us women are so great at multitasking, but to be honest with you, when you multitask, you dabble, and you're not getting the best results on the one thing that's going to drive your business forward. So great personal development book for you, your team, if you are really, going into this Q4, well, we're in Q4 right now. But then, setting up for Q1, this would be an amazing one to kind of go to. Marion, is there anything else that you wanted to share along with that?
Yeah, really quickly, I wanted to say one thing in terms of getting feedback from my coaches, my Diamond ones that are working towards Star Diamond. It helps them so much when they hear from other Star Diamond coaches, when they like Julia and Alexis have both hosted calls for me. And I think just not listening to Marion talk all the time and seeing other everyday awesome women building businesses and hearing their stories, it just gives them more evidence that they can do it too. Because sometimes I think diamonds feel like the Star Diamond ranks are out of reach. So I would love anyone here, if you want to swap calls, let's do that, because I think it's really a rad way to share other voices and to motivate people.
I love that. Love it. Yes, Jen.
Okay. I don't know if I'm getting off topic or going back to topic or whatever, but
no, I love it. Go.
One thing that I wanted to share that I have started doing, it was after I watched a call by Chelsea Pearson. She talked about building for volume versus building for rank. And in that, she had mentioned just slightly this, how they took their top 20% of their team, regardless of what rank and stuff they were, and they went through a leadership training with John C. Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership workbook. And it doesn't give a lot of details on that specifically, but, and I had the video as part of a Diamond Mind training. And when I watched the video, I was like, wait, what is that? Because what she did was she went through and they went to a small group, one-on-one. They had a 15-minute one-on-one call, and they went through each and had a discussion, because there's discussion, how to apply it. The workbook is drastically different than the regular book. And so I said, oh, let me give that a try, right? Because I was sitting there struggling with the same things, these diamonds in and out, these emeralds, and this was coming off of Summit. So I wanted to kind of get the momentum out of Summit. So we had this, and I invited all of my diamond coaches onto it, and then some of them, and I set very strict expectations and standards, to where like you didn't respond and discuss 3 posts, like you were out. And I had to stick with that. I had to stick with that for myself, and it showed me as a leader that sometimes I set these expectations, and then depending on who that person was, depending on the personal relationship I had with that person, I lowered those expectations and those standards, and I allowed them to then lower the expectations and the standards that they set for themselves in their business. And that was a crutch that I was giving them, that was allowing them to just be lazy and not succeed. At the same time, what I didn't realize was that this group, and we implemented it. So we have our Coach Basics, which is two weeks long. And then we have our leader mentorship, and that's, you have to be an Emerald coach. Emerald team builder. That's it. Is that it? The leadership ladder. Trying to incorporate the leadership ladder in there, basically Emerald and Success Club. And then before you can go into any type of diamond training, I have this. And what it does is it forces them to take ownership and reflection of who they are as people. Because on my team, it's very like, my vision for my team is to cultivate strong leaders. I feel that is what truly makes a difference in other people's lives, whether it's our family, whether it's your kids, whether it's, the people around you. That's that positive energy that you're able to give off if you know how to do it. And so what I've realized is I was getting frustrated because I'm an open person. I can reflect. And I was seeing that my team wasn't. And then, like you have it, you're just like, well, if you guys would just do this stuff, like, stop. And you can point out and you can pick. And then eventually you're that person that's just always picking at them. And this workbook caused them, like, all I had to do is go ask questions to further the conversation of their replies. And it caused them to take ownership and reflection. And I saw the people who didn't want to do that fell off. And the people who did, it was like a process. They got angry, they got defensive, they like cry. And the next thing we know, all of those diamonds, that's how we went from 4-star to 6-star and held it, is because they've all taken ownership of their own business. They don't need me anymore to point out the things that they're not doing. They had this kind of revelation of everything that I needed to do is provided to me. I'm either doing it or I'm not. And so I don't have to go back there. They're not so dependent on me to like motivate them and inspire them and point them in the right direction. They know how to do it now, and they know that it's their job to pay that forward as leaders. And I think that it was also very nice for some of the ones who aren't diamonds, who haven't been on the team for that long, to see going through that the leaders are just trying to do the same things we're trying to do every single day. And it ended up empowering them tenfold. And so now we're in the second, it's like a quarterly thing, and we're in the second training, and it's the same process with a new group of people. It's a training that I run for everybody on the team. And so this new group, they don't know me. I don't have as close of a relationship because they're not all of my coaches, but they're going through the same process. It's a humbling process. They're being forced to take ownership, and some of them are responding very well, and some of them aren't, but I can see who those long-term leaders are going to be at the end of it. Because we have an accountability group for Power Hour and stuff like that. And I make them, I tell them, I expect you to also post in here too. So they don't have an excuse. Like, you're not in this training. That doesn't mean that you let your business activities go. And it has really helped. It's really helped a ton. It's a long-term process because, they can implement some things, but they can't implement it all, and that they're not going to change. You can't like be humble yourself and then change automatically. But it's definitely one of the most positive things that's ever happened in our team, because when they can take ownership the way we've been forced to take ownership, it's what got us here, they don't have any more excuses anymore. You've ripped all of the excuses out from underneath them. And so that's what it's done for our team. That's, I think, the best thing and it's not a Beachbody thing. It's not a coach thing, or anything like that. It's something that they have to draw out of themselves. And it's been pretty amazing as a leader to watch, but then it's been pretty amazing to see how it's also pulled the team together, because they have to depend on each other to kind of get through that, because they're like, oh man, you're going through this too. Like, it feels so bad. And then they pick each other up, and then they work together to move on. So,
no, I love that.
I wanted to share that.
That's great. And Kim Carver actually talks about that book a ton and does a lot of trainings from it. So that it was beautiful. So I love that. But I think the biggest thing, I mean, what I got from this call is truly what it comes down to is the expectations you set. So it's the expectations you set with obviously your coaches, when they say they want to be a coach. But I would strongly say this, and I say this because literally at this point, you have to decide who you're going to bring into your coaching business. Meaning, if it's a fit, awesome. And if it's not, if it's pulling at your heartstrings, you kind of have to feel where that's at. But I challenge each of you to throw them into a challenge group immediately. And just say, okay, if you want to be a coach for the next 2 weeks, you are the best challenger. You show up every single day, you do these things, and they have to earn it. Because when they know that they have to earn, like literally they have to earn it to go into the coaching side, they're more apt to show up. You give them the option, and sometimes the expectations are hard, because you can lay them on thick and they can say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. But I promise you, if you tell them the expectations up front and they bow out, they're not wasting your time. They're not wasting their time. And then they know what it's going to take to be a coach. So at this level, each of you should have expectations for your business, expectations for your coaches, expectations for your challengers. And literally, if they want to be a coach and help others, they need to be the best challenger. They need to be in your team page. They need to be showing up every single day. And when you set those expectations up like that, they're more apt to rise to that occasion. And I love, Jen, the fact that you said, you know what, I had to kick him out of the group. And sometimes that stinks. I've had plenty of conversations with you ladies, and it's like, what do I do? And it's like, you know what, did you say it? Yeah. It's just like a child. If you don't go after your word, and if they know that she won't kick me out, I don't need to worry about it. Right? Okay, we're going to get cut off on time. But ladies, great call today. Did you get something amazing out of this? And if you didn't, just remember expectations. Good laws. No, I'm just joking. You all did such an amazing job. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you, Marion, for sharing about your diamond retreat. Ladies, let's take this to the chat thread or to the group. If you have anything that you want to share, please do. Thank you. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.